Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back. This is part 1 of What If Deku Had Majin Powers, or powers very similar to a Majin from Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball, whatever you want to think of in terms of movies or stuff like that. And, yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I have a couple ideas of how I want to approach this series, so I'm definitely excited to get into it. But before we do that, please check the links in the description for the Discord and the Spotify. And yeah, that's all I gotta say for now. And I want to get right into the what if, so let's get it. Izuku Midoriya is born into a world full of quirks, superpowers, or whatever you would like to call them. These quirks give people powers beyond belief, but some powers, well, they're not so good. Other powers, they're really good. Other powers may turn you into a washing machine, and others may actually set your future for the rest of your life. But when Izuku Midoriya is growing up and he's starting to, age up a little bit, being that of maybe 2, 3, 4 years old, he begins to watch these heroes, begins to completely and utterly be in awe of these heroes. And as he watches them, he's excited. He thinks to himself, wow, like these people, they're amazing. And you know who's even more amazing? All Might. All Might's insanely amazing, and he can't believe anything that's going on. He can't believe that someone like this could even exist. And he wonders, can he be like All Might? Well, that's the excitement that a young kid like Izuku Midoriya is having. But unfortunately, when he would arrive at the doctor's, he would see something and hear something that he would never want to hear. And that is that you are quirkless. Izuku hears that he is quirkless and is not going to have or grow into a superpower. But as the doctor is telling both Inko Midoriya and Izuku Midoriya these things, it seems like he continues to peek over at something that is unknown to both of them. He continues to peek over at something that is interesting him. Even Inko Midoriya realizes this and asks him, hey, what's going on? What are you looking at exactly? In which he goes, oh, it's just scans that are making me question something. And he says that, yes, he doesn't have any signs of having a quirk, and maybe there will never be signs to having a quirk, but it's odd that his body is shaped differently. It's slightly different, don't get me wrong. Maybe he's just growing differently than other people, but it's definitely something within his DNA and also his bone structure that is throwing him off. And he even says that they could do more tests, but he assumes that this has something to do with a maybe late blooming quirk, and he thinks that they'll have a check-in in a couple years, in which Izuku would kind of have his excitement come back because he's thinking, oh, there's a chance that I can have a quirk. Maybe it's a strong one. I mean, maybe it took a while for it to, show itself because I'm gonna be so strong. And Izuku waits year after year after year, doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment, but nothing. Not a single thing. Doctors would even take these x-rays around the world, and they would come back with nothing. They wouldn't know what's going on with his bone structure, don't know what's going on with his DNA structure. They honestly don't understand a single thing that's happening. And Izuku, well, he doesn't know either. All according to him is that he doesn't have a quirk. And that's something he starts living with. Starts coming, basically, it starts basically coming to him that he's never going to be the hero he wants to be. And he's disappointed. He continues to wait for some good news, but as he gets older and older, he just realizes that he has to live with the idea that he'll never be able to be the hero he wants to be or even set out to be in the first place. And Izuku lives with that and deals with that. But there's something deep inside, something deep in the back of his head that makes him think he wants to try anyways. He wants to go for it. He wants to give it his all. But he doesn't know if it's even worth doing. And, well, he questions even more because Bakugo throughout the years, even from when he's about 12 to 14 years old, Bakugo continues to tell him that he's useless, continues to tell him that he should never try for UA High School, continues to tell him that he'll have no shot in the entire world. And this makes Izuku feel extremely inadequate, makes Izuku feel extremely bad. I mean, at the end of the day, what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to say? How do you argue something like this? I mean, seriously, Bakugo's right. Bakugo is completely right. I mean, at the end of the day, he's nothing. He has no quirk. He has mediocre grades. I mean, maybe it's slightly above average, but he's not like the smartest person in the world. He's got nothing. What is he going to do? I mean, just throw his life away? Just go and try for the UA entrance exam and just get hurt? He just shakes his head and realizes that maybe he should just revoke his letter now. Maybe he should go and get rid of it now before it gets mailed in. And as he's actually going to do this one day, his mother would have already mailed it, would already had the admissions and all the potential there to basically go and try out for UA. And she tells him that if he wants this, if he wants to get into UA, he wants to be a hero, he has to work for it. He has to try. And he's going to feel disappointed in himself every single day if he doesn't at least make an effort. In which Izuku hears this and he realizes, you know what? She's right. I have to make an effort. I have to give it my all. I have to try absolutely as hard as possible, because no one else is going to do that for me. No one else is going to pick up all of these, these horrible doubts that are flooding through the head of Izuku. No one else is going to truly know if Izuku is ready other than Izuku Midoriya. And he knows now. He understands. He understands now that he needs to push himself beyond absolute belief, and he needs to figure out something and figure out how to climb his way to the top of the chain, the top of the food chain, and become the hero he seeks after so heavily. And that's what he's going to do. Izuku begins to do mild training, but nothing to the point where it will actually matter. I mean, we're talking about regular physical training all the way up until he's about 15 years old. Izuku would be maybe more fit than most people, but other than that, nothing special. And Izuku would continue to just keep his head in the books, trying to be smarter, get ready for things, and potentially kind of prepare himself. And Izuku would eventually kind of hear his teacher talking about how they have two students trying to basically get into the UA entrance exam. In which Izuku's thinking, oh, of course, here we go. Bakugo's going to make a big deal out of this once again. And that's exactly what Bakugo does. Screaming, shouting, explosions, yada, yada, yada. That's exactly what he sees. And Izuku is just irritated. I mean, seriously, he's been trying so hard to get himself in a position, hoping that his quirk would finally awaken, but it still hasn't. Still quirkless, still nothing. But what he doesn't know is that there's a power laying dormant within him. A power that he just needs to realize. He needs to awaken it and push it out to the point where it will change his life forever. And, well, let's just say he would finally realize all of this power after the day he has at school. Because Izuku is just annoyed with Bakugo, and Bakugo decides to follow Izuku, following him as they arrive at a fountain of some sorts, and basically tries to blast him with an explosion to get rid of his notebook. But as he does this, Izuku would move out of the way briefly, where the explosion would hit the notebook, but it would send flying towards a bird. A bird would get smacked with the notebook and the explosion partially, burning part of its wing. And Izuku is thinking, well, that's really sad. Poor bird. This is awful. In which Izuku looks toward Bakugo and he tells Bakugo just to leave him alone. What is he doing? He thinks he can be a hero? Look what he does. He's basically a villain. In which Izuku would get exploded into the fountain as well, sending him flying, crashing in it. and he would see the bird laying, basically laying on the side of the fountain, struggling, trying to actually get up and fly. Bakugo would tell Izuku that he should never speak with him again, and that he should watch his damn mouth, especially with how useless he is. Izuku would struggle to his feet, and as he struggles to his feet, he would hold his stomach, the explosion mark surrounding him entirely. But as he holds his stomach, he can feel a sensation, a warm sensation, not like an explosion warm sensation, but a sensation of healing, of prosperity, of basically calmness. And he feels this, and as he feels it, he feels that his body is kind of healing, but he doesn't know what is happening. He struggles to the bird, and he picks up the bird, thinking this is sad. I mean, the bird, it's on his last legs. He's gonna die, and it's all because of Bakugo. Why would he even do that? Seriously, why would he do that? Izuku would pet the bird and basically just close his eyes as he's holding the bird with both hands, and he can feel this warm sensation once again come over his hands. He opens his eyes, and the bird starts glowing for a brief second, and then out of nowhere, the burn mark on the bird is gone. All of the bird's body healed entirely, and the bird flies up and lands on Izuku, chirps a little bit, and then flies away. Izuku watches the bird fly away as he basically pulls up his shirt a little bit and looks at the wound that was on his chest, and it's no longer there either. No longer hurting, no longer bleeding, no longer burning. He's confused, but he's happy about it. How did he do it? He has no clue. Like, genuinely no clue. But he begins to get out of the water, shake himself off, and he begins to actually head home. At least head home in a direction that he normally doesn't go. He goes to head under a bridge, but as he sees this, he sees basically a villain running away from All Might. All Might would smash the villain into the wall, making him splatter into basically a ton of pieces, and All Might sees the kid and asks if he could help him clean up over here. Just, help him clean up a bit. In which Izuku's like, yeah, I mean, of course. He runs over cleaning up, and of course, All Might asks him, I mean, what happened to his shirt? I mean, it's all burnt. Like, what happened? In which he tells them that some kid did it, and it's no big deal. Like, he's fine. He's not hurt or anything. In which All Might's immediately like, what do you mean you're not hurt? He looks at it, and he sees that there's literally no burn mark on him. It was literally only on the shirt, and he's confused. Hey, I mean, what quirk do you have? In which All Might asks him, kind of questioning Izuku and curious, really. And Izuku says, well, I don't have a quirk. All Might's even more confused. He asks once again, how did you heal yourself then? You must have some sort of quirk, kid, like healing or something. In which Izuku didn't even think about that, but maybe he does. Maybe he can heal things. And Izuku says that he doesn't know. His buddy, or best friend of some sorts, and whatever you want to call him, blasted him and a bird on accident, and he was able to heal the bird and himself, not sustaining any serious injuries or anything like that. In which he's confused. How is that even the case? I mean, seriously, I'm quirkless. How could I do that? In which All Might says, you must not be quirkless, kid. I don't know who's been informing you, but you obviously have powers or something that's underlying. And he tells the kid that he's good. He's interesting. And I mean, everybody can do for a sidekick that can heal, and maybe even a hero that can heal. I mean, seriously, healing goes a long way in the hero world. Someone like him, I mean, he can be a big benefit to anybody. In which Izuku asks, can he be like All Might? In which Izuku says this and asks him curiously, and All Might says, you don't have to be like me. You don't. Not even close. You can be something different and be just as good, if not better. All Might nods his head and tells him that he has to get going now and, get the sludge villain out of here. But he tells the kid, he sees potential in him. He should keep climbing, keep going, keep trying. Because that's what matters. And that's what truly every hero works hard for others to try, for others to feel protected enough to give it their best. And Izuku hears this. As All Might jumps away, Izuku feels like, wow, maybe I can do this. Maybe this is possible. He looks toward All Might as he gets a weird feeling that All Might has an injury on his body. He doesn't know what it was and how it was telling him, but it's as if he knows, as if he can sense the injury and knows that All Might is actually at a weaker state, in which he kind of shrugs his shoulders a little bit and thinks, well, maybe if I get to talk to him again, maybe we'll have a chance to chat about it. Izuku would head home, and this is when he would start his training. He would be thinking to himself, well, he obviously can heal. He obviously can do something like that. So he has to really lean into it. He has to really try and train these healing-like powers, in which he does. Seeing his powers get, well, stronger and stronger. And it's kind of crazy to think about. Like, how is he able to get this much more powerful, at least in terms of his healing? I mean, he gets to the point where he's healing so much, and in terms of he's kind of taking just courtesy days to help out people and do stuff like that. He even goes around where the homeless are and or sees any patients that are injured, and he would heal them. They wouldn't know, and nobody would know, but Izuku would use this as a way of training, in a way, and he would grow stronger and stronger, his healing becoming more potent and more potent. And he thinks to himself, maybe he can do more. Maybe there's something underlying in his body. Maybe there's powers he knows nothing about. There has to be more to this. And he thinks to himself, and he begins to work hard, train his body, hone his body, to the point where he believes maybe something can awaken. Maybe something else can show him. But nothing, not at all. Nothing is showing, and he doesn't know why. I mean, he does the training, like the 10 months of it, and let's be honest, I mean, he is shredded at this point. Like, he is really, really in a good fit. He's extremely fit, and he is extremely, extremely, like, durable in terms of, like, a normal person. And he feels like he's pretty strong, too. And that's always a benefit. I mean, training like this definitely helped him. But all he really has is his healing. I mean, he could heal himself. Well, he can actually naturally heal now, as if he's got some sort of regenerative powers, but he also can heal others. And he believes that there's gonna be a lot of, well, hardships here. And he's gonna find it really difficult to actually get into UA, and that's the reality of it. It's gonna be really difficult to get into UA. And he knows that to be true. So here's the thing. He tries his best. He goes to try out for UA, and he does his normal written portion of the exam, and it's pretty easy. He studied quite a bit, and he had a lot of time to do it. So he studied, he did pretty well. But once we get to the practical is where things get really scary for him, and gets really, really, I don't know how to say it, but basically a bad situation. Because this is robots. Yeah, the practical is fighting robots, destroying them from 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, to even a 0 pointer who is like massive. And well, Izuku's thinking, what is he supposed to do? Seriously, what is he supposed to do? And he doesn't know. He really doesn't. He feels that this might be kind of his out. This might be kind of his game over in a way. He tries his best to eliminate a robot, and he's pretty damn fit. Don't get me wrong. He's pretty strong. So he might be able to eliminate like a 1 pointer and then maybe a 2 pointer. But after that, it's like all the robots are gone. Every last one of them. He doesn't know why, but they are. Izuku's thinking to himself that he just failed. He spent all this time working hard, trying his best, and now he freaking failed. Everything. He just failed. He doesn't know what to say, or he doesn't know what to believe. He feels like it's over. What? I mean, seriously. He wasted all this damn time. He could have been doing anything else, something else. But All Might said it himself, that he could be useful in so many other ways. It doesn't have to be your normal traditional hero. Izuku thinks about this as he hears the sirens going off and the 0 point robot eventually arriving. And as he sees this 0 point robot, he thinks that it's now or never. he has to do something. He doesn't know what that means and what that something is, but he has to do something. So what does he do? Well, he runs around to see if anyone needs help until he sees a girl that he recognizes and a girl that he actually ran into not too long ago, especially at the beginning of this day. Ochako Uraraka is on the ground covered in rubble, and she is injured but also extremely exhausted. Izuku races over, pushing the rubble off as the 0-point robot is approaching, and he basically grabs her, and as he does, she would heal entirely. You basically tell her to stand up and start running, in which she says she can't, but then realizes, my ankle doesn't hurt no more. Nothing hurts. I feel rejuvenized. She immediately would use her quirk on him and also her and dash them out of the way pretty quickly and then release them as they're out of the way of the 0-point robot. Immediately, Izuku smiles and says that was one heck of a way to use her quirk and that was pretty damn smart. But immediately she says she's never used her quirk like that ever. Like ever in her life. Not the way that she just, and the most efficient way that she just did right now. She doesn't know what he did, but he did something. He made it so that she was able to utilize it with a lot less strain. She doesn't know how that's even possible, but at least it was a lot less. It was a mild resistance, as if basically she was able to utilize her quirk and not get a super amount or a ton amount in terms of dizziness and nauseousness and stuff like that, which he's just happy that he was able to save her. And well, let's just say Izuku is kind of at ease with the idea that he's not going to be getting in. And it sucks. It really does. And frankly, it's something that Izuku hates to admit, but it's the truth. Izuku knows that there's a good chance, if not a high likelihood, that he won't be getting into UA, but at least he was able to show off a little bit. Show people that he has some sort of powers. Show people that he's capable of doing something, even if it's just saving one person. And Izuku he would be kind of sad about this. I mean, seriously, he wanted to get into UA, but obviously that's not in the cards. So he begins to look through other high schools, other things, other places, and other things he possibly could do with his life. But eventually he would get that letter, and he would be curious. He wonders if he was even supposed to get a letter if he didn't get in. And he opens the letter to a hologram with All Might in it. All Might would tell him that his score wasn't that impressive, but what he did was truly something. All Might says that there was a hidden portion of the score known as a rescue or a hero score, and he gained quite a few points in that regard. Izuku, Midoriya, my boy, you may not be your traditional hero. You may only be able to help others and heal them, but you gotta understand that being a hero, all that matters is you helping people. Not how strong you are, not how powerful you are, not if you can punch down a building. Yes, it helps. Yes, it's awesome. Yes, it's cool. But helping people is our number one job, and you are made to do that. Welcome to UA High School, and welcome to Class 1A, in which Izuku is shocked to see this, gaining over 100 points, 100 points flat from his rescue score. Yes, that still puts him on the lower end of things because he literally killed beat 2 robots, but still, he was amazed at this. He really got in. He freaking did it. He can't believe it. He even tells his mother about what happened and that he got in, and that it's the powers that showed up. He was able to get in even without really destroying any robots, in which she's happy for him, extremely happy for him. Glad that he was able to push the boundaries and really get to the point where he can be the hero he wants to be. And that's exactly what Izuku is going to achieve at UA High School. And the first day, well, it's definitely not your ordinary day, because Izuku would walk in and everybody would kind of be all shapes, all sizes, all different colors. Everyone looks different. From short to tall to pink. People with multiple arms. It's so crazy. Everyone's so different. And Izuku, he feels like he fits in. He is very different. And, well, he waits for Aizawa to enter, And as he does, Aizawa would tell everyone to be quiet, everyone to sit down, and that orientation, well, that's off the books. Because they're not going to go somewhere where they can just be talked up, complimented, and praised all the way to the high mountains. He doesn't care about any of that. He cares about results. And those results, well, they're going to come from their quirk assessment test. He wants to test them, see what's going on, what they're capable of, and he wants to see what they're really about. In which, of course, Izuku is interested in this, and he's interested to see if there's anything that will be beneficial to him and what he can do. But he would end up realizing that all of these tests are made for people with powerful quirks, not a quirk like healing, like he has himself, which technically isn't even determined a quirk because they haven't even been able to see it. They haven't even been able to test for it. Nothing. They don't even know where it comes from necessarily. It's some dormant power, but they do label it like a healing quirk. They don't say he's quirkless necessarily, but Izuku's powers are very, very dormant at this point. And let's just say when Bakugo would throw the ball as far as possible, giving off a pretty damn good score, everybody would be excited to try their best and do whatever. And, well, let's just say Aizawa is not hearing it and not having it, because he says, you know what, let's make it serious now. Because if whoever gets last place is going to be expelled. Izuku hearing this is a bit concerned, but luckily he's pretty damn trained, so he doesn't get last place in all of these things, but he doesn't do very good either. I mean, he doesn't have some powerful quirk that can help him through this, but let's just say he is pretty darn average in everything, and he might be faster and a little bit stronger than some people just because he worked out extremely hard. But in terms of kind of that, Izuku is maybe middle of the pack, probably more like the bottom half of the pack. And he ranks, somewhere like 4 to 5 slots above the last person being Hagakure. But Aizawa would eventually say, like, you know what? I mean, I was just messing with you guys. I was just trying to get the best out of you, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, that's not necessarily the case, but he just decided that he was going to let him off, and he just wanted to see what they were truly capable of. But this worries Izuku. There's a lot of things to worry about, but the main thing is that Izuku doesn't have the powers that others have. He doesn't have, the strength and this and that and these crazy things that other people can do. I mean, seriously, he doesn't have any of that. But what is he going to do when he's faced with somebody that he has to take down, that he has to get rid of, that he has to, knock out? I mean, seriously, he doesn't have those type of powers, and Izuku is worried, especially when the next day he would have an actual training session with Bakugo and Tenya Ida versus him and Ochako Uraraka, because All Might himself would set up a heroes versus villains training, pitting Izuku versus his basically rival to the point, or more like arch nemesis in a way. And he's going to be pitted up against Bakugo and Tenya, and he'll have Ochako by his side. But the thing is, he's worried about if he'll really be able to take down Bakugo and Tenya, knowing what Bakugo is truly capable of and knowing what he'll do. And when they all get set up, they strategize. They talk about maybe utilizing Ochako's quirk to try to float around and find the bomb. And, well, that's the first thing they try to do. Trying to float around, find the bomb, and eventually they do locate it, in which Izuku makes it so her quirk doesn't actually really affect her as much. And when they find it, she actually feels like they can't get through this glass. So they're going to have to try and get through the staircase, and at least they know where it is and know the direction. And as they basically go through a different slotted window, they begin to try to sneak their way upstairs. And as they get to the floor, as they finally arrive, they can hear explosions trailing them. And that is Bakugo. Immediately, Izuku says, go find the bomb, go track it down and try and basically get there and touch it. He'll have to fend off Bakugo. He tells her that she has this, she can do it, in which she nods her head and runs off. Izuku turns toward a hallway as Bakugo begins exploding down that hallway. Izuku lines up ready for a fight, ready to do whatever it takes. and he steps 1 foot in the ground and goes to throw a punch, and he lands that punch. But as he does land the punch, an explosion would explode directly on Izuku, blasting him away exactly toward a wall. And, well, the smoke would fill the corridor and or the hallway, and so All Might and many others cannot see what's actually happening. The smoke covering both Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo in a fight that many feel heavily favors Katsuki Bakugo, and, well, they have no idea what's happening. But we're gonna have to see what happens in this fight, well, in the next part of What If Deku Had Majin Powers. If you enjoyed, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed this part. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check the links in the description, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Later.